live from the Star in Frisco. Game on Sports Center here at halftime between Melissa and South Oak Cliff. I'm your host, Jeremy Beadling, alongside Trace Gerard, Morgan Alexander, and Matthew Bryce to break down all the Texas high school playoff matchups this weekend that you need to know about. First off, let me kick it to my guy, Matthew Bryce, to talk about this game and who the winner of this game might play.
Well, first, let me give love and respect to Melissa for fighting back from being down 17-0. South Oak Cliff had their foot on their necks, and they were getting ready to choke them out. But they fought back. They got within 17-14. This is setting up to be a great second half.
And then, obviously, whoever wins this matchup is going to be playing Midlothian Heritage, a tough matchup for next week. Matthew, you did a little deep dive into that. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect next week for whoever has to play them.
Midlothian Heritage victorious over Marshall 21-14. It was a blue-collar effort from Midlothian Heritage. They are undefeated in 12-0, and that's who the winner of this game will get. Now, South Oak Cliff saw them last year where SOC beat them 33-27 in overtime. So it'll be, no matter whether it's SOC or Melissa tonight, it's still going to be a tough matchup.
Oh, of course. And obviously, live here at the game, right behind us, the band is going at halftime. What are some things that you saw in the first half, Trace?
So big-time plays coming from big-time playmakers on both sides of the ball. I'm seeing a lot of Gunnar Wilson getting active. He's making plays both offensively and defensively, and that's part of the reason that he has been recruited by Oklahoma State, is he can do it all. He's kind of a Taysom Hill light, if you will. And one thing that I want to give credit to is Trevor Ham and Nathan Adejoke, and these two guys at the very end of the half took the team down the field, marched, and made it a one-possession game going into halftime. And like Matthew said, a 17-point run by South Oak Cliff, cut by a 14-point run by Melissa.
Yeah, and going off of that, it's really interesting because on paper, everyone says South Oak Cliff, they're probably going to win this game, right? But when I'm looking at the stat sheet, I'm thinking about it a little bit differently. Physically-wise, Melissa is just as physical in the trenches at the line of scrimmage. Now, the key thing here is speed. South Oak Cliff, their defense is extremely fast. Now, when I talked to White House's head coach, he told me when we're scouting Trevor Ham, we circle, we star. He likes to get out of the pocket. He likes to run. He likes to throw the ball on the run. If our receivers cannot get open for Melissa, it's going to be a long day. Their defense is so incredibly fast, and you got to just have a couple inches on them. And right now, you've kind of seen the back and forth where they're getting those little steps, but it's not been consistent enough for Melissa's offense. Defensively, though, they're playing pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Look at them against Lovejoy. They had 21 possessions, offensive possessions Lovejoy did. They only scored on 4. And 2 of those, they were put already in the red zone of a muff punt and an interception.
Yeah.
So the defense has done their job all season. Realistically, it's the offense that's got to catch up here.
No doubt. And I have seen Coach Matt Nally giving Trevor Ham, he talked about his dual threat ability. He has been getting some design quarterback runs, which I think have been working really well because Nate Adejoke, and he's a very talented player, but when he's found the corner, when he's been able to get outside, that's whenever he's been able to move the ball best. And I want to see this offense continue to use Trevor Ham's skills, not just in the air, but on the ground as well.
And something I found interesting for the South Oak Cliff offense is a lot of the times they're running that RPO or that, read option, and the read key has been Nigel Smith, arguably the best player on Melissa's defense, trying to kind of counteract what he can do for the Melissa defense, stopping South Oak Cliff.
And I did notice Melissa's defense going into some 3 technique down to towards the end of the half, so I'm wondering if that's something that they're going to do to be able to drop back in coverage more and take down those SOC, very talented wide receivers and skill position players.
There's so much on the line here, right? Melissa got knocked out by them last year, so if anyone has a fire lit under them, it is Melissa, right? They know if we can just cross over this hump, it's state championship right in front of us. So this game is huge for them tonight. But honestly, their head coach, Matt Nally, told me that Lovejoy loss was fantastic for them. They fixed the little things, they regroup, and now they're in a tight ball game here tonight.
And before we head out of here, I got to go back up to 6A, mention one of the most exciting games of the entire weekend, Highland Park up against McKinney. Highland Park back on the ropes. They were down 21-6 at halftime, and this defense, led by Bobby Leidner, bowed up in the second half, not allowing a single point for Highland Park to get the last-second field goal at the very end of the game. I mean, an incredible sight. It was rainy, it was cold, it was wet out there. to make a game-winning field goal like that when you're underdogs is going to be big, but they have a huge test ahead of them next week against South Lake Carroll. Their offense is insane. 4 70-point games this year alone, and they've also, their defense, you think, oh, more of an offensive team, it must be 70 to 55. Their past 2 opponents, they shut out. So it's going to be a tall test for Highland Park, but Scots always find a way. So we'll have to see what happens next week. That's been us live here from the Star in Frisco for Game On Sports Center. Catch up next week for more Texas high school football matchups.